Welcome to the 90 Degree Show, the sports center for college marching bands where we recap the ultimate battles from this weekend. And now, here's our host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Unmute your microphones. All right. Welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm happy to be your host. My name is Joe Beard. And unfortunately, this is the last 90 Degree Show for the calendar year. We'll be back in the fall. But we have so many more programs for y'all to enjoy. So tune in. And thank you for listening. Shout out to all the people already in the chat room. Shout out to Ernest and shout out to Bridget. So let me just go ahead and start it out with hold on. Let me start out with a good round of applause. Oh wait, hold on. That's the wrong button there. All right, here we go. Let me start it out. Again, I cannot say how thankful I am to have two music majors on the show. You know what I'm saying? So we can break down the actual factuals, but two beloved HBCU grads doing good things in the workforce. Two positive folks. So follow them. All right? All right, so now I'll go ahead and bring in the show with our wonderful panelists, the pride of Morgan State and the pride of South Carolina State, Bridget Bell. How you doing in this podcast, ma'am?
I'm doing great. Good evening. Hey, everybody. What's up? What's up?
And how you doing, Mr. Ernest Stackhouse?
What's going on, folks? What's up, Bridget?
Hey.
So shout out to y'all. Shout out to shout out to you guys for being here and doing all the things. We kind of adjusted, so now it's 6 o'clock on the East Coast, 3 o'clock over here on the West Coast. A little bit more feasible for our schedules. And today we didn't have a competition going on. I do see though is some parades going on. And that's the part. That's one thing I don't know about, like Mardi Gras. I don't never remember that schedule, but I know some bands are doing some things now.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you guys in this show. I wanted to ask you guys. Let's see here. What do you remember most from this season? And it can be a game. It can be a performance, or something that we did on the show, or something something what one of our shows was about. And then we also are going to talk about a couple of HBCUs in the news. I saw that. Yeah, that's right. I have to make sure. North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I didn't know that they were a state university at the end. But they plan on leaving the conference. They plan on making a move. So we talk about that. And we'll talk about South Carolina State. Because Bridget, as you guys know, Bridget has been on the video ever since we started doing the video. Bridget used to call it, or she used to chat in the, I think it was the other format we had where you could still like chat. I think it was Blog Talk Radio. But she used to chat in there. And she was talking about this then. And I think we were talking about Bethune, or we were talking about something, and she was typing in there like, "Oh, money, and all this. What you talking about?" And I was like, "What?" So now it keep coming up. So we'll get a chance to talk about it today. All right. So excited to have you guys again. Shout out to the people in the chat room. Shout out to the great Reverend Dr. Christy Rosa Walker Parks. Let's give her a round of applause. I see you in there.
We see you in there, Christy.
Reverend Doctor. Shout out to you. And
Reverend Doctor.
we'll go ahead.
Her Reverend Doctor.
Yeah, and we talking about her school today, so I'm sure she's excited. But yeah, so let me go ahead. We'll do our intros, and then I'll do the commercial breaks. I'll try to get through with those so we can talk a little bit more. But I'll go to you, Bridget. What's been going on with you? How's the year been going? The season's over. What's going on? How is everything going with the family? Just break it all down to us.
Oh man, so everything is all good. So for those of us who are not in, march and parade season, this is assessment and festival season we getting ready for.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was a big week for my program. I'm representing Edgewood this week because them kids showed up and showed out this week. So this week we actually brought in a clinician. Shout out to Alcorn State University and their band directors
Give him a round of
and their
applause.
staff and all the
Mm-hmm.
people they have working. But so my focus this year has been trying to get my percussion stuff together because band directors who not percussionists, we know that percussion stuff can drive us crazy. So we brought in the one of the assistant directors at Alcorn, who's over there percussionist. Brian Sterling came in and did a clinic with my band program at the middle school next door, the high school. Well, their teacher left, so I'm teaching at the high school now too. So he worked with them, did an outstanding job, and he did a lot of consulting work because I had stuff put together all wrong, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all now. Me and them kids we was rigging stuff, but he got us together. So I'm gonna shout out SOD. He did a nice little video media clip. I'll try to repost it in the chat room. So if y'all want to see it, he did a really nice tribute to the kids. They were excited to have a percussionist really, really come work with them. So if you're looking for somebody to come work with your programs, he's an outstanding person to bring in. So check out Mr. Brian Sterling. Thank you so much. Mr. Sterling did a great job. So that was that this week. That's kind of warmed me out. That whole thing wore me out this week. Clinic week, getting ready. We're trying to get ready for assessments, and now I'm trying to get the high school and the middle school bands together. So that's a bit much, but that's what's kind of happening. Shout out to all the bands that's in Mardi Gras parade season. Buddy, y'all some marching folks. There's some long parades. Those not like 1 and 2 mile parades. Them joints be like 6-7 miles. Like,
Right.
woo. But I also understand that it's a great kind of fundraiser also for the band. So good luck. I hope you got some good marching shoes so your feet don't be hurting. But it is the kickoff of parade season. So I'm just shouting that out as well.
Well, that's what's up. And shout out to you say Edgewood. I love the logo because that look like the Rams. So
It
that's
is a
tight.
Rams. Edgewood
That's tight.
Rams. Let's go.
There you
Edgewood
go.
Rams.
There
Absolutely.
you go. And then shout out to Brother Sterling. Brother Sterling is in the chat room. Let me give him a round of applause. I actually think this is the first time someone from Alcorn has actually been on the show. Or
That is
actually been
not
in the
true.
chat room.
He's been in before. Don't do
Really?
that.
No.
Yes,
No,
he
I've
has.
never seen. Well, I may have seen his name. I just hadn't connected everybody's name with the school yet.
Got you. We got you.
Cause see, I see he probably just cool. See, he probably hear me talking about Alcorn. He probably just don't be saying that. See, I be thinking somebody gonna like go in or something. But shout out to you, man.
Somebody ought to snatch you up because you be talking big junk.
But I'm too far away. So that's that keyboard courage. Man, that's that keyboard courage. You know what I'm saying? I'm hard back here.
Keyboard courage.
There you go.
You're gonna need security at the Honda. You're gonna need
Oh yeah,
security.
there you go. That's why I be scared. That's why I be scared to come, y'all. Keyboard cowboys. All right. So that's outstanding, Bridget. Ernest, what was going on with you, man? How you doing this week?
Oh man, this week was busy, bro. I started the week off with the L.
Oh yeah. Let me
Oh man, sorry man.
One that hurt so bad because we should have won that game. Bad coaching calls, man. Bad coaching.
He
But
young though, man.
Atlanta need to take their coach back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, wherever they got him from, because he ain't working out.
You get all the way to the end, they're gonna say that.
We got there on the strength of talent, and he messed it up.
They did all right though, man. But he was young though, man. You know what I'm saying?
Bruh. How you let a team come back 10 points in
He was like
7 minutes?
Yeah, it was quick. It was
Bruh.
quick. I
That's
was
what I'm like,
dang.
come on.
So
He brought that Atlanta curse to San Fran, man.
yeah, and then the crazy thing is now people have been adding up the stats for the two games. So they were
Yeah.
like in the last like 8 minutes of Super Bowls, Kyle Shanahan is like 200 to 6. Like, you know what I'm saying? They piling it on them, boys. So, oh man. But I thought
Oh
about
man.
you, Ernest, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So I started the week off in the dumps, man. And but it got better. It got better. It got better. I just came back from the SCMEA conference, South Carolina Music Educators Association in service, and had a great time. I started my career in South Carolina in 2000. 2000. Well, I'm old, but and I taught at Darlington High School for 8 years, man. And what's cool is the band director there now is my former student, and he's doing a great job. So shout out to Darlington and all the schools in the PD, man. But I had a great time visiting some old heads that I remember when I was there, and uh, rubbing elbows with some professionals in South Carolina. I was there on an official business to represent my new organization, AMIA, Advocates for Music and Music Education Association. So
Nice.
we had a little booth up in the exhibit hall, and we got the chance to talk to a lot of people about what we're going to do, and this is kind of like our coming out show, so to speak,
Excuse
with
me.
the state. And we're going to be expanding throughout the year. We're just completing our 501c3 status, and so we'll be getting some government funding, which is much needed, so we can do what we need to do. But we're going to be providing resources and professional development for music educators and programs in the state of South Carolina. So that is exciting, man. We had a great time doing that. We had a lot of good interaction with people throughout the conference. I got to talk with uh, some individuals. I'm gonna be doing a blog post, an article about the whole thing. But man, I got to have a good conversation with Eddie Ellis. He was there, and
Nice.
talking to him about. We got into a long conversation about Southern and his relationship with Dr. Greggs and Mr. Knighton. And man, it just was real informative. So I'm going to be sharing some of that in an article coming out really soon. But that was just a highlight, man. The rest of this month is just as busy. I'm going to be next week. I'm going to be in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Burke High School Recruitment Fair,
Oh, Burke.
and yeah, they're going to have band. We're going to have band directors from Southern, North Carolina A&T, South Carolina State, Bethune Cookman, and a host of others. Um, those are some of the names I remember off the top of my head, but it's like 10 bands, I think. But they're going to be doing this mass recruitment session that's very big in the state of South Carolina. All these students come from different programs in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia to audition there for scholarships all at once. All these programs. So, oh, Florida A&M will be there as well. So it's a lot of going on that week. Then I have Eddie Ellis's he has a presentation on called "What Did They Do?" And he has these man these huge figures in the field of music education, huge band directors that are going to be on the campus of Allen University and talking about how they approach uh, a piece or a rehearsal or how they prepare bands. So it's invaluable information for anyone in music education. I implore you to take your kids, take a group of kids, because it's also a clinic. They're going to be working bands, but it's also an informative discussion session for band directors. So check that out. I think it's February 22nd, if I'm not mistaken, but check out Allen University's page on Facebook, and all the information is listed there. But yeah, busy, man. A lot on the calendar, but enjoying it, man.
Man, I'm about to say you sound like an administrator. You sound like you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got a lot going on. But that's really
Yeah.
cool that you have that you are providing those tools and professional development. You guys know I'm an adjunct professor at a community college here, and those professional development sessions they're definitely
Mhm.
helpful. They're definitely helpful to me because I swore to God I was never gonna teach anybody. Like I was never gonna be a teacher because my parents were teachers, and y'all know how that is. Y'all swear we ain't gonna never be our parents, and then You know what I'm saying? And I ended up
Oh
doing
boy.
right. So
Yep.
I avoided all education or anything like that in school. And then I move out here and then I got to do it, to survive, and so that so now so those main things, those professional development things, they always have some type of a seminar or something. Definitely very very helpful to me. So I'm now with you explaining it, I understand how what and what your consortium, if you will, is doing. So shout out to you, Ernst, man. Give you a round of applause, man.
Appreciate that. Appreciate
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm excited. I understood it too. You know what I'm saying? I put it together. I was like, damn, that's appropriate right there. You know what I'm saying?
that.
So for me, nothing really. My son starts track next week, and my daughter started swimming last week. So I'm all hyped up for that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it going on for me. Starting out the year, rolling out. It's 2020. We got chopping it up, and shout out to all the people in the chat room. Shout out to all the people that's everywhere. Y'all know our craft. Anybody that wants to put their business out there or they want to have an interview to talk about what you're doing, definitely hit us up. I'm trying to interview everybody on Chopping It Up this year. Let me get a round of applause. I'm trying to talk to some of everybody this year. And I know it's hard because I've been telling people for like 5 or 6 years now I want to interview them. But just shoot me your information, and then we'll pull it out. Cause I'm gonna call you on Skype, and then it'll be just like this format. You'll see Chopping It Up down there at the bottom instead of 90 Degree Show, and still all the same sponsors and all that. If you want to sponsor the show, all of that, we're doing big. Oh, I forgot. If you go to the marchingpodcast.com, we streaming live there now. I meant to say that, so round of applause for that. So you can go see our show. You can see it on YouTube. You can go to themarchingpodcast.com. You can be on Facebook. You can be on Twitter, Periscope, Twitch. Or you can go to the blog as well. And I think that's it. But yeah, we all over the place. So like and share and do all of that because all of the support we get, we put back into National Signing Day for marching bands, which is in the spring, which we go to the school just like we highlight these band students, and they tell us where we're gonna go to, where they're gonna go to school. Shout out to I think Scarfinger Hoodrich. I don't know if he's in there, but the school I kept missing that we did was Kings Fork in Virginia. And Brother Bradley, Bernard Bradley. Shout out to him, good Humpton alum. We did him. Thomas Jones was there. And we did 2 more schools. We did Columbia High School with brother. He marched at FAM and at Jackson State. And I can't even remember his name now. Man, I swear, I need to start writing stuff down. But shout out to you. Those programs, we really want to take off and start highlighting the programs, the directors, and all the people that are supporting our craft. All right. So, with all that being said, let's take the first commercial break, and we're going to first talk about, I want to ask you guys about the season. What do you remember most? The awards and all that stuff, that's coming on the Rogers Brothers show, so y'all follow them for all of that info. But I want to ask you guys what you thought about the season, and then, like, what was the most memorable thing? And then we'll get into MEAC and financial situations at our schools, if you will. I already see somebody talking about it. Shout out to you, Christian. Yeah, Bernard Bradley, Brother Bradley. And yeah, I'll see. And then Garrett is in there. Garrett, what's up, Garrett? Hold on, man. Round of applause. I'm telling you, man. Once I get some money, man, we gonna kick it. I'm telling you. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to do with myself. All right, so let's go and do these commercials, and then we'll come back and get the conversation going. You listen to the 90 Degree Show. Thanks everybody for listening.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
Hey band heads, this is Christy Walker. I'm alumni of the North Carolina A&T Blue and Gold Marching Machine and one of the creators of the fifthquarter.com. And you are listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
And this your boy Brandon.
And Javante.
And we the Rogers Bros. And you rocking with my man Joe Big.
For the Marching Podcast. Yeah.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, you can unmute your microphones. We are back from our commercial break. Again, shout out to everybody in the chat room. So we are at the end of the season. The Honda's over. We talked about the Honda. What was that? Last week or 2 weeks ago. And everybody had their 2 cents to say, which was really cool. So now we at the end, and I wanted to ask you guys, this is my favorite question on the chopping it up. I always ask people what's their most memorable experience, or what do they most remember, or the first thing comes to your mind, however you want to call it. I want to ask you guys, what do you remember most from this year? And again, it can be a performance, or it can be something we did. Bridget, I'll start with you, if you want, if you're ready. What would you say you remember?
Let Ernest go first.
Okay, all right. Ernest.
Let me digress.
All right.
For a
Or
second.
if you ain't ready, I could go. So you.
Well, I got two. I got two quick things.
All right,
things.
bet. All right, go ahead.
All right. So I was really impressed with Grambling and their new band director this year.
Yeah, round of applause.
Yeah, Dr. Robot. Yeah. So that and I admittedly say that I have never been a fan of Grambling, and I don't like anything from their marching style to the way they approach drills to their playing, nothing.
The white shoes.
But
the bass drum.
definitely not the white shoes. Yeah. Yeah. But I found myself just getting, I guess being impressed with their presentation on the field and in the stands this year. And that was a stretch. So shout out to the band staff at Grambling and the students. They're really making some progress, man, and moving the program in the right direction. The next thing I'd like to say that really stood out to me this year is I'm going to go on record and say that so far, I believe that BCU is the best. They're the band that plays ballads better than any other marching band right now, and that was solidified for me this year. The way their approach, the detail, the cleanliness. They may not have the best arrangement. It's a difference. They may not have the best arrangement, but they execute better than anybody on the ballot. Of course, I still say that Sarge is the best arranger out there, hands down. But BCU, their approach, the balance, the attention to detail, the contrast and dynamics, the phrasing. You never hear any what I call parking lots in the music, moments of nothingness. That's when it's supposed to be sound. That means everybody breathing together. Nope, you never hear that. They're always a perfectly blended, well balanced group every time they approach that concert number. So I just like to highlight BCU and Grambling for those things this year.
Give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. This is the support show. Hopefully nobody get mad about this show.
They get mad about everything, Joe.
Dang.
Everything.
I've been trying
Everything.
too. I was
It's
like,
all
what y'all? They've been
controversial.
like, no, it's horrible, Joe. Get out of there. My bad. But that's what's up, man. That's actually two good things. That's actually something I had, Grambling. I was impressed with them this year. And I was impressed with them at the Honda. Which I was like, I know I'm not going to like their show, but I actually like it. I thought they had one of the better shows.
Yes, so, they had a good show.
Yeah. Anything else, Ernest?
That's it. That's my two things, man.
Okay.
If I'm going to highlight something.
All right. Anybody in the chat room?
Go
ahead.
An honorable mention. I will say that yes, of course, FAM's concert selection shut everything down musically at the Honda. But that was the best I've heard FAM in years.
Wow. Yeah.
Years. I don't know what they did. Maybe they let Sarge back. Started writing again. I don't know. But it's the best they've sounded in a while on a concert selection. So
yeah, they did sound pretty amazing. They sounded great.
Yeah, they had that momentum from being the MEAC National Black College Football Champions. That's why.
God.
Fam is the champs. So they said, hey, we got to represent the Honda. That's what they said.
And you know what, man? What's interesting about this year's Honda, the last thing I'm going to say about the Honda is in recent years, I would even say that, and some people may agree or disagree with this, but I would say the SWAC bands have really been controlling the Honda. They were the hype or most anticipated bands you wanted to see, and they brought the great performances when it came to the Honda. But this year, it seems like it was a return to the MEAC. It was kind of an ode back to how it started with with FAM being there and the MEAC bands. Like if FAM and Cookman and A&T was there, oh my God. But but having FAM and A&T performing on the high cylinders that they were performing on really made the MEAC stand out at this Honda.
That's what's up, man. And while you were talking about FAM, I remember the other dude. That was Zachary Neely, band director at Columbia High School. And then it made me think that was Charles Connor at his school.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was in Chicago. It wasn't a school because he's in Vegas now. I think he's in the chat room. Yeah, there go Charles. What's up, Charles? So, yeah, those were the three band directors that did National Sign Day. I had to add that in because I be feeling bad when I forget people's names in the schools. So when I remember them, those are three directors. So that's outstanding, man. So for me,
that's just the good stuff. Mm-hmm.
So Bridget, you want me to go? Are you still?
I'm ready.
Cooking it up? Okay. All right, Bridget.
I'm ready. I had to
State. Hold on. Where the drum? There we go.
I had to pause a little bit. My cup of coffee. That was important. That's why I let him go first.
What are your cups? What's your cup say?
I know. What does it say?
Look, this cup is from my kids. It says that's a sharp, not a hashtag. Then they got my name on the back of it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's from my Edgewood baby. Shout out to the chat room. My Delta mama's in the chat room. Hey, Roblyn, my Delta mama. I'm making her a band head, so she's in the chat room. So shout out to Roblyn.
Nice.
Anywho. So memorable for me, the most memorable thing for me is Morgan State going to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That is number one for me. I've never been so excited in my life. But not only that, they were there, but while they were there, they got all the publicity and hype they wanted. From the Today Show wanting them on there and all the great things they did. Like that was number one highlight for me for this season. As an alumni, I am proud.
Right.
I was super proud also that it wasn't a begging mission like, oh, please support us to get there. The president was like, nope, y'all going, we support you, we got you. And that
Word.
makes me proud with the economic situation, the way that it is, and HBCUs going under. I'm ecstatic about the direction Morgan State's going in. So yeah, that's the highlight for me. Number one. That's number one for me. My number two, the most memorable show for me was, and it's a combination of our show and their show, but was the gospel show Jackson State did.
Oh my God, that's
I
mine. That's mine.
I am a PK for life. Everybody knows I'm PK. I'm PK for life. And that gospel show, that is the best gospel show I've seen. That's just my personal opinion. You don't have to like it. I don't care. But Jackson
Nah, we
State gets
love
the
it.
best. Jackson State, I bet you do, because part two of it was Joe trying to sham that gospel show and Jesus shut
Right.
it down that Sunday.
Right.
What you're not gonna do is try to sham that gospel show. Let them babies give me praise. So that's like a part two. Like, the show is amazing, and then we coming on that Sunday. That's it for me. Like, I knew that when you were like, what's the most memorable thing, that came to my head immediately. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
The gospel show and the aftermath of the gospel show.
The aftermath. Yeah, that tops.
Yeah, that's
the
mine too.
aftermath.
That's mine
That's
too.
yours
The
too?
fallout. The fallout from the gospel show.
Because the thing I most remember was like, it's the 5 seconds when I realized the show had cut off, or like my internet was out. I was like, oh my God, like what? And I was looking around. I was like, what exactly is going on? And then of course everything just came back on, and I was like, it's like a ghost had walked through. And then I think I
Not a
called.
ghost.
Yeah, right.
The Holy Ghost.
Right. So I called somebody and I said, Jesus cut down the show. So then I wanted to make sure I got back on the air and say I was sorry to Jesus. I was sorry to everybody. Because I didn't want to like say sorry and quiet. I had to like put it out there. You know what I'm saying?
That man called me talking about something. I got saved. I was like, oh yeah.
I changed my life.
He had a whole conversion experience based upon Jesus shutting that show down. Thank you, Jackson State. That was a mighty powerful show.
It was. It had to be. Cause I still.
Yep, he converted Joe.
I know, man. Cause I still feel funny about the show. Like, I mean, they were singing too. Like, oh, like it's just everything that I hate, and it was. I don't know. So yeah, I learned to kind of be careful about that one. That's definitely mine too, Bridget. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I thought about Grambling was good, and yeah, definitely Morgan State. I'm thinking about Southern getting their chance, and then Hampton. Cool thing, I just thought about it. Hampton knew they were gonna be in the Honda before the Honda. Round of applause! Round of applause! How they know that?
And I'd like to add something to that. I got confirmation this weekend by talking to several individuals. The whole the whole Honda thing is a sham, man. It's a sham. Like, band directors know in August.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If they're going,
why are you surprised? They know.
If they're going, they know. They know in August.
I thought it was something like a myth. Like, you know, oh man, they know, and I'm like, nah, they probably don't. They might.
Joe, one day you're gonna learn. When I'm telling you something, when I'm telling y'all something, it's usually because I got proof behind it.
Right.
So when I'm saying that, that's why I kept saying it. I was like, oh no, they know. And then shout out to Hampton, great season. I was excited for what Hampton did this year, but Thomas Jones posted it on their schedule in August, and I was like, that is the most arrogant thing I've ever seen. I was like, did he really just do that? I was like, at least play along with their sham, because it's a sham, and we know it. They know, the band directors, so they're having conversations right now about Honda 2021. You better believe that.
Oh yeah,
they're already in those conversations.
So what do you think they do with the votes?
Nothing. What is?
I don't even think they look at them. Yeah, I don't think they care.
There's always one band that's the whatever band. This year it was the Benedict, whatever. What's the name of that school from South Carolina?
The college
Benedict
band of distinction.
It's always one band that's like, here they come. You know, that's not usually a part of that. They're not at the table per se. But then even if you think about that band director has been with Lincoln before, so he's already been. So he's already at the table, so to speak. So to speak also. So I stopped voting a long time ago, because it's a sham. It's a sham. They know who's going, and it's about ticket sales. everything you have to realize, and I keep saying this, I've been saying this since day one I've been on this show. Everything that's happening with HBCU bands right now, and in the HBCU world, is about money and economics.
Hmm.
That whole Honda
I
thing is
agree.
about monies. Whoever has the biggest ticket sales for them are going to come back. So we know Hampton did really well selling out. A&T always brings a crowd. It's all about money. They have to make money, and that's what it's about. They don't give a darn about the bands per se. It's about Honda making money. How about that?
It's an old saying that says, the answer to all your questions is money. Or like the root of all evil or something like that. I mean, sometimes it just really, just simplicity is that's what it comes down to. Because that's really kind of, I guess we can kind of halfway roll into the conversation about the MEAC. But yeah, that's a trip. Because, I mean, wow. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you need to sham folks. I don't think you need to have it like that to make it interesting. Christy in the chat room was talking about it's just to garner interest. So I get that, but I don't think you got
Yeah.
to make people think they voting. I mean, I know
Mhm.
I be thinking I'm voting, I'm making a difference in everything. Like, dang. So,
I hope you're not one of those people who go every day, Joe, and try to
oh no, I don't
push
have
your
time
stand.
for that. But I at least when I think about it, I go out there. So I was like, I
Right,
went a
right.
couple days ago. Let me go on. Let me vote for Morgan State right quick. You know what I'm saying? That's what I be
Don't worry
thinking.
about it. We're not at the table. You don't have to worry about Morgan going. We're not at the table.
Yeah.
You
So
good? We good though. We don't need to be at the table. We good.
shout out to y'all in the chat room again. Um, but yeah, I guess that was it. Yeah, but that was it. The Alpha and Omega show, and then I remember so many people liked the show. Shout out to Brother Snipes. I remember because he said it, and I know we said it on the show, but I'm not a fan of the gospel shows. I'm just not. But there could be something going on in someone's life, someone's mind, and hey,
Hmm.
that makes a difference. So for that, I at least got to be like, when I see a gospel show, I got to start remembering that. You know what I'm saying? That could have changed somebody. Just like that changed my life that day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um,
Sure did.
I would love to see if it would ever happen between two major bands like Jackson State, Southern, A&T Fam, a huge major battle, and somebody go up in there with a gospel show. Now I be wondering to think like if a band director would ever be thinking that. That's the only part that messes with me a little bit. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Just getting house because that particular thing is gonna get house. I saw Eddie. He had posted some. Eddie, meet me on the 50. He had posted. He was like, "Oh man, I love this show. This was a great show." But he was like, "Why you use it on Alcorn?" Or I mean, Pine Bluff. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You use it on the wrong school." So I don't know, man. I'm up and down with it. I just know I'm not gonna be talking bad about it no more. But for
Well, you
somebody
But
know
to
you
what?
set it
know,
off, go ahead, bro.
Throughout
What you
the
about to say?
throughout our I guess recent history, there's always been one or two gospel songs that come along that everybody plays. Like it was "We Fall Down," it was "Praise Is What I Do," it was "Order My Steps." You had
yeah.
many different bands playing those songs. So and of course the Kurt Franklin stuff. A lot of people play his stuff. So I mean, it's been going on for a while now. I don't think that's going to leave because it's a part of Black culture.
Right,
The church.
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That the gospel culture is a big part of who we are as as a people, and that reaches the soul of everybody. I think, except for Joe, he's the only one who doesn't like it. But everybody else, whatever. But it goes to show. You keep, Joe. You always say like, why would they use it on this person? Da, 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 the show.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think I don't know how SWAC band directors do it, but I didn't grow up with a band director. And I'll say grow up with a band director or come with a band director who'd be like, all right, this is Howard. This will get the most house. We're going to do this because it's Howard week.
Mhm.
No, we put our best foot forward every week. And I think that's the mentality of most band directors like, okay, this is out. Let's say we're going to do this show this week because da da da. We didn't really plan. And some band directors, the younger generation may be like that, but I came through it with an old head band director who was just like, we're going to put back forth our best show regardless every week. We don't care who's in
Right.
front of us. ideology. So I think it just depends on the mindset of your band director. The younger guys may get up for other bands like that, but I didn't come through with a band director who plans specifically for the other band. We just planned a good show. Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that was just on my mind the whole year, especially after it happened. But then I had to like look back. I'm like, what is it? So I guess I have a compromise. Cause remember, oh wait a minute, don't forget before we get off the show, y'all. I meant to tell y'all in the text. So my bad. I want you guys, if you've done it before, that's fine. I would like you guys to tell the world your hot HBCU band take for this year. Round of applause. So we got the hot take. I know you got one. Bridget gave us one a couple weeks ago. So we gonna
What?
reiterate that.
Which one I gave you?
Okay,
Which one I
let's give
gave
her
you? I'm
real
lost.
quick. Bridget said, if you have a smoke machine in your show, in this upcoming year, you will incur infractions for the next week. Round of
Don't be
applause.
trying to put that on me. Don't try to put that on me. You're the person that's been giving out all the infractions to people. Don't do that.
I tell you, that's a hot take though, Bridget. You gotta stand by that, cause hot takes are hot. We need to have somebody write like a little whoa, like a little hot HBCU bands or something like that. Bands.
You better call Smokey O. You better call Smokey
There
O's
you
barbecue.
go.
Yep.
There you go.
Smokey else give you a tight jingle. Yeah.
Thomas, I'ma holler at
Hot
you, man.
bands take Smokey O.
Hot
There you go.
takes. Hot takes. Some of these hot takes.
That would be dope. So yeah, we got to put that together. So yeah, I'll give you a little time, Ernest, because we could go over mine. I got like a whole book of HBCU
Oh, I'm sure.
for the hot takes. We gotta have the hot takes this year, y'all. All right. Well, real quick, let me do the other commercials, real quick, and then we'll get into talking about the MEAC, talking about South Carolina State, talking about our schools, everything else. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show. We appreciate all the support and love. You're listening. And yeah, we'll go through these commercials and we'll be right back.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high-quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white t-shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event, but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1-800-975-3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Southern California area, please contact Kevin Peete of Remax Patriots. He will meet and exceed all of your needs. You can contact Kevin at 951-858-5942. That's 951-858-5942. Or you can email Kevin at kpsaleshomes@sbcglobal.net. That's KP, his initials, Kevin Peete, KP Sales Homes, all one word, at sbcglobal.net. Thanks again.
You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. Smokey O's, come check us out.
Hey, this your girl Casey Nesbitt, 2000 graduate of Jackson State University, class of 1996 of the Sonic Boom of the South, 2002 graduate of North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University, Aggie Boy. Also a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Fall 1997 Delta Pi Chapter, and you're listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Hello, this is Manuel Powell, one of the 2015 Marching Podcast Scholarship recipients and 2016 Jackson State University Saxophone Section Leader. And you are now listening to the Marching Podcast Radio Network.
This is Warren Shaw, Chief Arranger and the voice of McClark Atlanta University, Mighty Marching Panthers. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
Hello, this is Tamisha Brock, practice student consultant and a graduate of Virginia State University and Norfolk State University, and you're listening to the Marching Podcast Radio Network.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, you guys can unmute your microphone. Shout out to all the people that have done the promos with me. Let me give you a round of applause.
Yeah.
That's actually my favorite part of the show. Is having one or all the people in the craft. They be like, hey, this this so and so. You listen to the Marcher podcast. When we used to do the audio shows, I used to put that over one of the beats, and those are some of my favorites. I wish you guys could have heard them, but those are some of my favorite promos. One of the ones I really like was Tamisha Brock. And I put hers over the Cult of Personality, Living Color. Oh, that was dope. Like, it would match, like, right in there, like she was, like, in the studio making a song. So,
Wow.
yeah, man, it meshed really good. I can't remember what episode that was, but I really enjoy the interviews, but I definitely enjoy just reaching out to folks. And that's, like, my favorite part, is the little promos there. So, I wanted to add those onto the show today. Last sponsor is Bull City Music School. You make sure that you guys go holler at Janetta Powell Smith at 919-423-5701. That's Janetta Powell Smith at Bull City Music School. She's got an office there in a school there in Durham, and she also has one in Hillsboro. You also can hit her up at Bull City Music School and Store for instruments. And things of that nature. So she's doing big things out there in North Carolina. So holla at Janetta Powell Smith at Bull City Music School. And then you can go to bullcitymusicschool.com as well. All right? So, I guess the main point of discussion, let's talk about A&T first. Because, them A&T folks, they unbearable nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
God, like God.
Oh my
like
goodness.
God, for real.
You look up, and the other day when I saw the track athlete, and he ran some time, I was like, man, you're killing me. I don't want to see A&T in my news feed. Give me at least 3 or 4 months. But they doing everything, and they're like red hot right now. And most of our discussion, for people in the chat room that don't know, our beloved schools participate in our own athletic conferences. Okay, so where they participate is called the the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so North Carolina A&T State University, part of the MEAC, put out a press release and saying that we whooping all y'all behind so much, we need to move on and to greener pastures because we don't need y'all anymore. That's what the dude said. A round of applause for the dude saying we ain't need you. I'm just playing. He didn't say that. But that's how people feel. And I was like, wow, this is new. Because A&T is relatively new to me. You guys are there a little bit more on the East Coast, so you've probably seen A&T more throughout the years. But I didn't know anything about A&T until I went to Smith. And now I looked at their program. They have a decent football program. They've got a lot of championships. So it's
they're a founding member of the MEAC.
The MEAC.
So,
and
so
I definitely want to hear how you guys feel because you guys are in that MEAC area. Because Hampton had this same thing. Hampton now it has left. And I also remember that Hampton added lacrosse to their resortment of their assessment of sports and stuff, and they had a thing on Sports Center, actually with ESPN and Jim Brown, because Jim Brown played lacrosse at Syracuse. So they're again expanding into this new market. So Bridget, I ask you first about how you feel about the move, pros and cons, whatever you want to say about it, because I definitely want to hear. And I need a little bit more of an educational perspective, because I know y'all gonna break down the administration perspective. But how do you feel about the move, Bridget?
So I understand partially why A&T kind of wants to move the exposure, this is that and the other, but I'm going to take this from an HBCU perspective. So we often celebrate the culture of who we are as HBCUs. We're so great, we're so grand, and we have been fighting against the stereotype that the others are better than we are. We've been fighting this for so long. But yet still, when we say we want to move up, we go to the others. So are we saying that they're better than we are in essence? Absolutely. And that's what this move, when I tell you it, for me, it's not, there's no bittersweet to it. It's all bitter, because I'm tired of, instead of Black folks building, we leave. We don't take a moment to build. I potentially saw in the future, I was hoping to see a very strong SWAC and a very strong MEAC per se, a kind of closing down, maybe even, I hate to say, it's not to throw shade at CIAA and SIAC, but making major conferences for MEAC and SWAC, maybe dividing North and South that way, do whatever to strengthen our bond. So when we're doing better, do we say, oh, I'm leaving y'all because doing better? A&T is, the last few years growth, I think they're the largest HBCU at this point. All of their sports teams have been doing well. Everything from band to cheerleading to football, everything has been doing well. Congratulations, Jay, we're proud of you. But now we're leaving you. Really? And I didn't take it quite as hard with Hampton, because Hampton hasn't been in the MEAC as long. But as we stated, A&T is a founding member of the MEAC. Potentially, I see potential problems for the MEAC at this point. One, because they're one of our stronger HBCUs financially and otherwise. And so now we have Bethune-Cookman, who's struggling, who the president said this week they may lose accreditation. And you have South Carolina State that's having enrollment issues. So a collapse of the MEAC, will we see? I don't know. Morgan State's president is the head of new member recruitment for the MEAC. So who knows who they're going to try to pull forward. But most schools who try to come to the MEAC, let's be honest, the MEAC is the elite of the HBCU conferences that's out there. It's very expensive to be a part of it. And that's why you see a lot of schools kind of go back and forth. They can't really hang, because financially the criteria is kind of up there. D1AA, if you look at SWAC, some of the SWAC schools and facilities versus MEAC, you'll see where the differences kind of lie. And that's no shade to the SWAC. It's just kind of what it is. MEAC holds schools and their athletic programs at a high standard. So financially, it is challenging to remain. Winston-Salem has done the back and forth a couple of times. Savannah State has done the back and forth a couple of times. It's not the easiest conference to be a part of. But when I tell you, I don't like the move, I don't like it. There's no other way to kind of put it. Just because, if we really think about it as HBCUs, if all of our Black boys attended HBCUs, NFL is going to look at nothing but at the HBCUs. The top athletes around the country are usually our African American males. But for some reason, we have it in our mindset that we have to leave what we know, our culture. We have to leave the HBCUs in order to move to the next level, and that is not true. But they've made their call. It's a financial, and it's definitely a financial call in my perspective. I think it's about, everything is about money and finances. A&T has he's a non-minority athletic director, and I'm sure he's coming with a business mind perspective. But what happens with our HBCU culture? I don't want to see 10, 20 years down the road, we're like, man, remember when the HBCUs all played each other? I don't want to have that conversation, because we no longer have HBCU conferences. And I can potentially, not putting all that weight on A&T, but potentially I can see that start happening if everybody thinks the pasture's on the other side. One more point I'm going to make. When I say that I get tired of us feeling like, I can't tell you how much it bugs me when we say they're not better than us, but we go to them, and people can say, oh, that's not the same situation. But we don't see none of the predominantly white schools trying to come to HBCU conferences. So what is it saying? You know,
Bridget,
that's my big thing.
let me piggyback because I want you to keep going. But it's funny you say that. I have seen the only time I have seen people say, "Hey, let me get this opportunity at this black college," is like a coach or an admin or like a teacher. So you might have like
A
white
stepping
football.
stone
Yeah,
move.
here you go, like a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a
like the
stepping
guy
stone
at
move.
For
the guy at
experience.
Alcorn,
There's
or he
experience.
was at Alcorn. The guy Jay something, and I think he's at
Yeah.
USM now. But that's the only time again
No, yeah, they use us to get us at. They use us to be their next level up. We're a stepping stone move for a lot of them. That's why there's not a lot of long tenure with some of the coaches because that happened at Morgan. Coach came out of Maryland. I said he's not gonna stay long. Oh, no, he's gonna be a long time. I said nope, he's gonna be stepping stone. He stayed there a year and a half at most. Got an NFL opportunity. He gone. He out of there. So, but that's really I want to give everybody else a chance to kind of speak on it. But when I tell you, I'm not happy with the move. I'm really not happy with the move because I really want to see us to begin to build as a people. Honda's taking over this battle the band thing. They're making the money when we should be making the money for ourselves. Like, why do we have to move to the other culture in order to step up? That's and I'm not one of them. Everything's pro black, but some things I am like, come on, we got to maintain some of our history and our traditions.
it's only fair as far as statistics are concerned. You know what I mean? It's definitely an economic thing, and that's what I worry about. As far as that, if we don't actually have the attention to actually financially put our money together, if you will, that's kind of the scary thing. One person that I thought about this may seem like off, but y'all know me a little bit. I thought of Lala. Y'all know Lala, Carmelo's Anthony's ex-wife. Are they still
Mm-hmm.
married?
You mean Layla?
Layla. There you go. My bad. My bad.
Yeah.
I was like Lala.
My bad. My bad, y'all. So y'all remember when she was just like a DJ on BET? Y'all remember? Cause y'all my age. I remember when she
Mm-hmm.
first came on the scene. I think she was like the DJ for, like she was on Teen Summit or something. She was on something on BET, and she got popular fast. And man, next
Mm-hmm.
thing you know, she was on MTV. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like definitely like if we come up, it's only gonna be a certain amount of time before somebody really give us a check. Now the crazy thing is like, who gonna turn down the check? Who gonna
That's
be
right.
like, yeah, we're gonna quadruple your salary.
That's right.
Nah, let me stay here. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be tempted. You know what I'm saying? What you about to say,
That's right.
Ernest?
I was about to piggyback off what you're saying. Uh, and if you notice, this happens in a cycle. It happens like maybe every 8 years or so that one of the HBCUs, particularly in the MEAC, gets at a certain level, and then they try to make that transition to another conference. It happened with FAM. It happened with South Carolina State in 2004. We almost went to the Big South.
Wow.
so so what you see is A&T right now because they're on top right now. But it cycles. It was FAM just like maybe 6-8 years ago. FAM was the number one HBCU in the country.
Uh-huh.
And what were they trying to do? They're
Yeah,
trying to
that
go
was
to another conference.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I
So
remember that conversation.
right. So it's going to keep on cycling like that. Just like Bridget said, for some reason, we always seem to think that that's the best move. Like when we get to a certain level, all right, in order to go to the next level, we have to go to their conference,
Right.
and and it's unfortunate because there is some validity to it, because of how we treat ourselves in our own conference.
Absolutely.
If you talk about the MEAC and the way they handled the championship for the last couple of years, it would piss me off too. What's a co-champion? And why don't I get an automatic, bowl bid or a playoff bid? Why is this conference so different? And am I really holding myself back by staying in this conference? Um, and if you just move to the Big South Conference, what? All those games are in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. So for South Carolina State, for North Carolina A&T, for all those schools in that area, it's more beneficial to be in that conference because you're guaranteed a bowl bid. You're guaranteed to actually get a playoff spot, and you don't have to travel those large travel expenses. I don't have to go all the way to Tallahassee, or I don't have to go all the way to Eastern Maryland, Eastern Shore, or Morgan State, if I'm at South Carolina State, so right, it makes sense. It makes financial sense. It makes sports sense. So it's a hard sell to keep those schools in our conference when you're not offering anything. You're not really doing a good job of attending to the needs of the conference members. So a lot of it is our own fault, and a lot of it is the systematic issues we deal with in America with inequality.
Absolutely.
We always seem and that's in everything. If you take away the sports element, you just look at schools, universities. There are more students going to the local public state supported university now. If I'm in South Carolina, I'm going to USC or Clemson. If I'm in North Carolina, I'm going to UNC or Duke, or one of those schools, and it looks to be like that's the better school, as opposed to a Morehouse or or something else. So
Well, I've heard from my own people growing up. I mean, I had a trumpet instructor. Shout out to Brother Charlie Rose. Shout out to you wherever you are. He went to University of Missouri there in St. Louis. Now, because St. Louis doesn't really have that black college, you deal with a lot of black folks, or even black folks that might not be in the state or that are in the state without a black school. You gonna hear all the time, "Hey, I know it's not right, but when people see you went to those schools and they see that school on your resume, they may not give it a second look." You know what I'm saying? Like it's something that they're telling you, like, and these are black people now. They're like, "Hey, I want to look out for you. I want you to be the best as possible. I don't want you to settle to go to a black school because it's not going to look right to some people. And it's not right, but you still put that key in people's heads." So just what you said, Ernest, the thing that trips me out is when I hear kids go to, like, and I don't mean any disrespect to any of these schools, but like University of South Dakota, or maybe like Eastern Michigan, or maybe not like a Alabama, Clemson, not the powerhouses where they're like, "Oh, I'm about to go to the NFL." They go to somewhere it was like it's just like a black college. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that cafeteria probably more dope than ours.
Exactly. Like this school ain't got no more clout than Morgan State.
Right.
Yeah, but you go,
and then you pledge because you don't be really comfortable hanging around like people that don't necessarily look like you. So you pledge and then you be out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm at James Madison. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay. But yeah, I think that's the part for me. And I just wish we could at least combine our resources somehow, some way.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, hey, like we doing on the show here, at least, we funneling our money around. And, people, I don't know. That's just a disappointment to me because it's like, when can we learn to, like love our own stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's a huge problem because if you look at our sports, our athletics compared to PWI sports or athletics, we don't support the same way. Like they have more season ticket holders than us. You go to the game, you see the whole crowd in the school colors. You go to our games, everybody doing their own thing. It was like more like a fashion show.
Right.
or there's nobody in the game. Everybody's at the tailgate. So we support on a different level.
Yeah, but that's when it comes down when I say we have to figure out our own stuff in order to maintain and preserve our culture and our heritage. We have to figure our stuff out. If not, it's going to be non-existent. By the time Zoe's ready to go to college, it's going to be non-existent. I'm going to be saying, you remember when I used to go to games and we used to play this school, that school. And she was like, what? No, we play Towson
Hmm.
and we play Johns Hopkins and we play,
Right.
and it's not the same. And it's not the same. And what you have to realize is the culture. So then this goes into the money thing, that the culture at those games are totally different. So when we go and we play Rutgers and we play other schools, everything for them is advertisement, promotions, money, whatever. So you can't play at certain times. Sometimes the band don't even take the field at halftime because we got to do some giveaways and we got to pay for that school board or whatever. So when
Right.
you start seeing those cultural things kind of change, and you're like, well, the band didn't play much. Well, look what happened. So A&T, I'm looking at the chat room. And when they talk about the diversity of the student body and all that, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. Going to that conference, will they be fine? I'm sure they will, but I'm looking at the big picture. I'm really looking at that big picture that we have to figure out how to make our stuff work. You know, I made a post this week about how much we lost, and this everybody gonna be like, "Oh, she's being melodramatic." You're gonna say this, and we're gonna come back to this show in 10 years, just like we had that conversation about Cookman. Y'all gonna be like, "Dang, that girl might have knew something she was talking about." But in desegregation, Black people lost a whole lot more than we gained, and I want you to think about this. So when we desegregated, they said, "Oh, we desegregated. Yay, we get to go to school with white people." But what happened is the Black people went to the white people's school. They ain't send
Right.
them over to our school. The true essence, they didn't send them to our schools. The true desegregation would have been figured out how, we're going to mix everybody. Some of the white kids, you're going to go to the Black schools. Some of the Blacks, we're going to go to the white. But in
Right.
essence, we said, we're going to the white schools because it's better. They have better this. They have better that. So we're going there. And what happened is, for example, my parents' school is non-existent. TV McCool High School is non-existent in Alabama anymore because all those teachers lost their jobs. It was a trickle-down effect. They didn't hire them at the white school because the white teachers didn't want them to teach their kids. It was a trickle-down effect. In
Hmm.
essence, we're doing the same thing here, and I need Black people to kind of catch on to it. Like, we're doing this exact same thing with our conferences. We got to leave our conference. We're desegregating. So we're going to go to wherever, Pac-10. We're going to go to Big South. We're going to go somewhere else. And in essence, you're leaving everything else behind. And we're going to look back and be like, oh, dang, I wish we still had. I don't want to look back 20 years and be like, dang, I wish we still had MEAC, because when we used to do them classics and we used to do this, that was so
Hmm.
amazing. And that's the bigger picture that I'm kind of seeing. I'm not just seeing this as a temporary moment. And let's be honest, Big South isn't getting any more NFL exposure than the MEAC is. MEAC get
Exactly.
players to go.
That was
We get
my
their
point.
players to go
All the time.
That
All
was
the
my
all the
time.
point.
time. They go
Yeah.
to the league all the time. So what's the
Yep.
difference? So you're going to get more of the gate money. But yet and still in our schedule, we have room in our schedule to schedule games so that we get some of the big gate money. So you're playing some of
Yep.
the big schools, get your tail tapped or whatever. So you'll
Right.
get a little more money all the way around. But yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the move at all.
And it's and kind of just to piggyback on what you're saying, it's it's happened over and over, and
Mhm.
that's the part I wish there was some way to figure it out. Y'all know Killer Mike, the rapper,
Yeah.
and he's been going around. He's been speaking at a lot of places, and he's kind of taking a lot of political stances and a lot of things. He actually had a theory that our most profitable time as black people in this country was during Reconstruction, and that was the
Mm.
establishment of the Freedmen's Bureau, where that government agency was tasked to implement what they were now calling freedmen into society. So that's where all our
Mhm.
schools and stuff came from, because
Right.
we all got like established 1870, 18 after
Yeah, all those
1865.
land grant
Right,
schools.
right,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Hmm.
So just like Bridget said, I think definitely the turning tide was, I guess, Adolph Rupp and Paul Bear Bryant and all of those majors. Because I'm a sports guy. Those guys saw the vision, and they said, "Man, we need to let these athletes come and play on our team. We
Absolutely.
don't want them
Absolutely.
necessarily at our school. We
Right.
don't,
Absolutely.
yeah, but we at least got to have them on." So then the other people were like, "Well, if you start hiring people or you start bringing them on, we want to bring them on too. But then, of course, you
Hmm.
at least got to put them into the school." And I think that's what Bridget was saying. And I guess anyone can break it down in the chat room, but there's definitely an integration where, just like Bridget said, man, you start showing them the weight room, you start showing them the facilities. I'm be like, man,
Yep.
I'm going over there.
Right.
I remember I was in so I'm not a trader, but growing up, Ernest, I don't know if I told you, I was in the Kappa League. I think in 5th grade. I
Yeah,
was in the
yeah.
Capital League because my mom wanted me to be around, black leaders and black guys
Right.
who going to school and all that stuff. And we went to Fisk in
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee State. And I remember we were playing basketball in and the gym was like dirty AF, right?
Right.
And we went in the bathroom, and someone came out, and they were making a joke. And I remember they were like, "Man, they soap dirty." That's what one of the dudes was saying. They were talking about Fisk and all that,
Oh
and
boy.
we were all like laughing. Well, that night, one of the guys, his name was Michael Jackson, believe it or not, he actually sat us down and he was talking about how we basically broke his heart because we didn't really understand in that instance what we thought was funny. Cause I was
Right.
laughing, cause how dude said it, it was really funny. But he was like, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, why is the soap dirty at Fisk? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why did the
Right.
gym look like that? Cause we had to sweep and clean it up before we could play. You know what I'm saying? So it
Wow.
was just that experience. I remember I came home and told my parents about it. Like I thought that was funny. Cause I was ready to tell everybody how dirty Fisk was and like how the windows had holes in it and like how the campus. I was like, oh man, this school. I ain't never going to this school. But then when
Mm-hmm.
he came from an older perspective, it changed the way I felt. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I had to share that with y'all because I don't know. I see that over and over again, and I don't see how financially we have gained that much progress. And that was '95 when that happened. I was in high
Right.
school. We 20 some years later. You know what I'm saying? And now we talking about
Right.
ANT dipping on us. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Um, it's some really interesting things. I don't know who MRS Andrews. They had breaking some things down. MEAC need to focus on traditional sports. Um,
Non-traditional.
yeah,
She said
yeah,
non-traditional.
yeah. So I guess that's how she feels. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know,
there are
man.
some schools. The sports are so. Just to kind of give a different perspective on sports too is people got to realize, yeah, we can add non-traditional sports. Morgan has had lacrosse since 1960. I think we was one of the first ones that had lacrosse, 1967. This is a big lacrosse area, so we've had it since then. But you have to realize too, I think this Mrs. Andrews, that a lot of schools you have to look at the Title IX stuff. The Title IX stuff is big on what programs you can have. For instance, the equity between men program and women program, you can only have a certain number of this, certain number of that. And so usually they focus on the big ones like, okay, football. Then what are you going to balance it with for females? Cheerleading, maybe men's basketball, women's basketball. It has to be an equitable amount. And sometimes you're not able to do that. So that's why you end up at HBCUs. They struggle a little more to get that equitable number. But if you look up Title IX stuff, that's a really big deal. I know Morgan lost wrestling because we had more men's sports than we had women, because there wasn't
Wow.
enough, whatever. And we don't have baseball because of that as well, or something. We have men and women tennis. We got bowling, men and women bowling, lacrosse. We have some non-traditional. So it just depends on that. A lot of that is Title IX stuff. That's that legal jargon and that we don't know. But I agree. There's some schools that have it. There's some schools who don't have it. But yeah, we gotta figure this. We gotta figure this thing out. As a people, we have to figure it out. We have to know where to put our priorities. Just like I'm gonna jump ahead. We prioritize in the HBCU community. A lot of schools prioritize band stuff at the detriment of their university. At the detriment of their university, because we want to have the tradition is, oh, we want to have big bands, and the school can't afford it. So we got to realize where to prioritize our money and things also in order to maintain. And that's a board of trustees. That's a lot of issues right there. But we got to figure this thing out. If not, slowly but surely, those HBCUs going to start dissipating.
Yeah, the
And
conference is gonna go first. That's what's
and
gonna
on
go
the
first.
other side of that, it's like I keep going back to the culture. If you're in Tallahassee, Florida, and you attend Florida A&M University, you can't expect the residents in Tallahassee, Florida. And if you ever been to FAM's campus and you ever looked around, right around the campus to see who lives right outside of the campus gates, you can't expect those people to show up and want to see a lacrosse match or you know what I mean, or a volleyball game. You know, they're not going to show up for that. So you're going to lose money. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to be hosting these games to empty gymnasiums. You know,
Yeah.
so it's a cultural difference. You know, you have to
Yeah.
understand black culture. We're not going to show up. We're going to show up for the basketball games. We're going to be there for the football games. As long as you playing somebody we know,
Yep.
you know, we're not going to show up just to see us get spanked. You know, by playing some team that so and such university. Uh, uh, they want to show up to a game where they can talk trash the other team. You know, because they know they're familiar with the culture. It's a part of that HBCU ring of schools. You know, so that's traditionally how we've operated, and I think the whole HBCU, what makes HBCU so special is that ring, that circle, that we have that, yeah, we talk trash about Southern University or that school, but we respect those schools and and
Absolutely.
and we love their culture just as much as we love our own alma mater, and we want to see them thrive. We want to see them do well. So stepping outside of that, I think, just like as you were saying, Bridget, I think it does diminish that, and if we're not careful, we can lose out in the long run.
Yeah, I wish there was a way that we could, you know, okay, fine, we want to move on because we're good, but we're having, we put the money back to the MEAC somehow. I mean, I wish there was something where we're actually building and not leaving. And I think we all on the
Yeah.
same page with that.
Hmm.
I could tell you as I guess, technically a small business owner, or just talking to other people that have owned businesses. A lot of people we went to school with, they have businesses now. I know that as far as financially, when you're talking about things, if well, okay, let me say it this way: when I was starting the Marching Podcast, there were some people that was trying to help me out with support and finances and all that. And one person told me, "So are you gonna make this like a black college thing? Like are you gonna do that?" And I was like, "Well, what's wrong with that? Like, that's what I know. Like, that's where I'm from." And they were like, "Well, you might not make any money." They were like,
Mm.
"Don't just don't be too black." That's what this person told me.
Hmm.
Just don't be
Hmm.
too black, and you'll have some success. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's always sat with me. And then I talk and deal with other business owners. They're like, "Man, every time I try to get my people involved in something, I told them I wanted them to pay like $25, but next week they got some Jordans on, or they'll say they gonna spend $100 on like was it Jabot or Ralph Lauren or something like that, and I'm
Hmm.
I'm trying to sell you my shoes for $25 or something. So there's definitely, I wish we were a little bit more aware of that economically, and hopefully we
Hmm.
can start making some choices to build, because yeah, I think that eventually it'll it'll thin us out, because I think that when you add economics to something, there's always a line to say, "Oh, that's not racism. Oh, that's not oppression. That's just economics. It's just black people don't
Hmm.
make enough money to." Do you know what I mean? So,
Right.
uh, anything else? I see some other people saying something in the chat room. Uh, Scarfinger said that the only people happy right now is Alcorn. Right now, that's what Scarfinger said.
that.
Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Nah, I'm just laughing at that comment.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because they talking about that. They talk about that MEAC championship because A&T always beats Alcorn in the championship. So I guess
Oh,
that's what they
okay.
mean.
Oh,
They'll be the
okay.
only because they'll get to see somebody else besides A&T at the championship or whatever. So yeah. Somebody said I'm afraid for the MEAC. If SC State and Cookman have to leave the conference, the MEAC is done. I don't know if they're done, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to It's tough to maintain. It's gonna be tough to maintain with a major powerhouse like A&T leaving too. A&T
Hmm.
bring good economics. So if you go to MEAC, if you ever been to MEAC tournament, you know A&T gonna bring a crowd.
Yeah.
They're gate sellers. They support well. So that's gonna be a loss. MEAC tournament has moved around several times, and it's because they haven't been able to maintain a crowd each night and to trying to maintain the finances. A&T has been that consistent point. They finally moved it to that Norfolk area because Norfolk does well too. Norfolk and
Yeah.
A&T not too far, so they've kind of figured it out. And now with A&T leaving, yeah, MEAC is definitely going to feel that. But black people, we just got to figure out how to got to figure out how to build our own thing and to manage. And that can kind of lead us into that whole
South Carolina
Bethune
State.
Cookman and South Carolina conference. Yeah, we got to figure out how to maintain what we have and build on what we have also. I've been talking about this Cookman thing since 15 or when I found out. I found out I don't know how many years ago, the scholarship budget of, and I remember how it kind of went. I found out the scholarship budget of Cookman because I was like, man, they got a big band. And so I remember one
Mm-hmm.
day me and Mr. Miles was talking. He was like, Bridget, have you ever been to Cookman? I said, no. He was like, you need to go. So the year my daughter was born, 2011, we went down to Cookman for something. And I was like, this campus is small. It's like 3 or 4 buildings. Like, and I was really shocked. I was really shocked. And then I started bringing perspective. I was like, so you have a campus of 2,000 students. You had a band of almost 400 people and $1.5 million scholarship budget. Something gonna collapse. You can't maintain that. So I remember we were on that Grambling show. Remember, Joe, we were on that Grambling show that year. Grambling, NBC kicked Grambling at the Bayou Classic off,
Right.
and it's all about money. I was like, everything is about economics, it's about money. And so I started talking about that whole, and everybody was like, $1.5 million scholarship budget for Cookman. They're not going to be able to maintain that. I was like, it's going to end up being like a Morris Brown situation. And golly be darn it, if that ain't exactly what happened. Busy trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to keep up with the school like FAMU. Now your school is facing economic collapse. All that accreditation stuff is about finances and maintaining academic standards. You can't maintain that for two. If you think about it, if you have 2,000 students in a school and your band is let's just say your band is 300. We'll use that number. If half those kids, 100, even if a third of those kids or whatever, 200 of those kids on scholarship, that's money the school's not making. You're actually financing them. So you're not getting any you're not getting any money in, no profits in. So what are you doing? What are you doing to get any? Your teams aren't like necessarily number one. They do okay. So what are you doing for that to make up the difference, that loss? You can't. And that's just scholarship budget. That's not even the budget of traveling and
That's what I was
everything
about to
else.
say. Yeah,
Woo!
yeah, it's even more expensive to maintain a band that
Yeah.
size. People don't understand how expensive it is to have a band with, even if you got 264 on the field,
Yeah,
getting hotel rooms for 260 kids, getting
baby.
meals for the weekend
Yes.
for 260 kids. You know, that hurts. That hurts the budget.
Ernest, when I tell you it hurts the budget, so when I was at Morgan, everybody know I did 12 years as Morgan. I was assistant to the director of bands. And my thing, I had to handle all the logistical stuff. To move that band, and Morgan band wasn't massive. I think the biggest band we had maybe was like 165 one year. We had I think maybe 4 buses to move that band for a weekend. We knew, and this is not even overnight, to move that band, the buses was going to be at least $15,000 just to move for one weekend. We knew food. We knew the food cost was one meal was going to cost us between $1,500 to $2,000 to feed them kids. If we're going to Golden Corral or something, maybe the parents going to pack some lunches or something. So you're looking at almost, not other incidentals. You're looking at almost $20,000 for it, and that's a small band size. Imagine what Cookman is playing, what they're paying to move that band. And I remember the year after FAMU got suspended. Remember, he went on a We Are the World tour. Every away game they went to, they even came to Morgan. Nobody comes to Morgan, but they wanted to prove from their point that they were We Are the World. And I started thinking about that thing. I was like, they moving like 8 buses of kids for weekend hotels and all that. That is expensive. So now here we go, 3, 4, 4, 5 years later, we crying about it because they've been crying about this for a minute, about accreditation and trying to, financial collapse. And then everybody's like, we got to save them. No, people. Like, we talk about building, but come on, we gotta show some responsibility too. We got to figure this thing out.
So for some of the people that don't know, I saw HBCU Digest. Shout out to Jared Carter. I guess he sold HBCU Digest now, but he was my first interview. But shout out to HBCU Digest in general. They had the report I saw, and it was like this kind of like this blog thing on South Carolina State, and they said that South Carolina State had, was it like over 1,500 students this past fall, and now they have the
Let me.
break it
Can I
down.
chime in on that first?
Break me down, man.
All right. So yeah, BCU Digest report was somewhat sensationalized, um, in the regard that the video you saw was from 2016. So, and the data which they were quoting was from December of 2019. So they were trying to paint a picture of turmoil, like everything's array, the sky is falling because the president was very animated and very,
Yes. Yes.
angry and a little intense in his speaking to the board and to the supporters. Well, those are two different conversations. The conversation that was going on in that video was totally separate from what the article was about. All right. That's the first point. The second point is when you do like when you get data on school enrollment or on budgets, usually those are projected numbers. Like they'll say, okay, we're doing this report in August, and we're projecting that we'll have this many students in the spring of this year, and we'll have this many students in the fall of next year, right? So if you put out that projected number, and then your number comes in less than that, whatever the difference is, is a quote unquote loss, right? In operating funds. Well, if that projected number was inflated or somewhat enlarged from real expectations, then of course you're going to see huge losses in that initial fund. Well, the president, what he said to explain the differences, because there was like a 21.7 million in losses that the report described the university of losing. Well, it wasn't that much in losses. They had an enrollment for spring 2020 of 946 students. That number is not correct. I know for a fact that there are more than 1,000 students, undergrad students, registered for the spring of this year. Another a site or another article quoted 3,022 students for this spring. So I know it's somewhere in between those two numbers of what the reality is. It's not as low as less than 1,000. It's probably not as high as 3,000 either, because that was a projected number as well. So did the university take a hit on student enrollment? Yes. Was it as significant as what the article presented? No, it was not as significant as far as the number, the amount of actual students or the amount of actual funds that the school is losing. The president presented some information about the number of application decisions they're making now, because a lot of people don't know that South Carolina State had fired its lead and enrollment specialist for the university, and it took a long time, somewhat longer than alumni wanted, to hire a new one. Well, they recently hired a new one, and she's been doing a great job with getting applications in and getting them processed. That was a major problem dealing with South Carolina State. It wasn't that students were not interested in attending the university or things just going so bad at South Carolina State that people were pulling the kids out and all that. But that's what the article would lead you to believe. We had an issue. We had an issue with processing applications on time. I had horror stories from band directors in South Carolina that said their students applied to South Carolina State in a timely fashion, didn't hear back from the school whether they were accepted or not until July, when they were supposed to go to school in August, and they had already, accepted at another school by then.
And Ernest, that's the part that punches me in the mouth harder than when A&T leave. When someone got a horror story about our school, I'll be like, damn.
Yep.
And then half the time I'll be
Yeah.
like, I know they ain't really lying. Cause I hear both.
Right. Right.
I hear some stuff like my boy Pat Sanders. I went to high school with him, and he does not care for black colleges. He ain't really tripping off that college thing to begin with.
Mhm.
But he would tell me like, "Oh yeah, I know about how black schools got rats running around." I told Christy that one day, talking about how like some of our people will be lying, talking about we got like rats running around and all this
Yeah.
stuff and all this stuff. But then you got people who actually got like a true story, like I
Right. Right.
applied for
Yeah.
my loan
Yeah.
and they didn't send my
Right.
loan back, and I'm like, damn, like that be hurt more
Yep.
than anything, because you feel like
It,
the second one black person make a mistake, it takes us like 20 years back. You know what I'm
it,
saying?
Right.
it, it really does. If you've ever, I don't know if you've ever been to so at one point, Bill Cosby had this whole, he was on educational tours or whatever. And so he tells a story about how he ended up at Temple University.
Hmm.
So he came to Morgan. He was like, I was supposed to attend school here. And he was like, but his admission stuff, he didn't get he was supposed to be there on a track scholarship. But for some reason, Morgan didn't send
Wow.
his acceptance letter until like June or July or something like that. So he decided to go to Temple. That's a real problem, people. Like, it's a real
Yep.
problem. So yes, we have to get better in administrative things. We have to fix out
Yes, we
internal
do.
stuff. We got to figure it out. And granted, the others have years of whatever of getting through those glitchy systems. They have years ahead of us. I get
Hmm.
that, but we're at the point now where we have to figure it out. One thing I have been proud about, Morgan State's president, he's a Tuskegee graduate, but he did years working at Auburn and at University of Wisconsin. He came in with them systems, and when I tell you, baby, he cleaned house. He cleaned house.
Hmm.
He posed as a parent student coming in and went to the
Wow.
administrative office, and let me tell you, shook that thing up. Like, no, that's not how this thing's supposed to work. Matter of fact, his son is a student there now. He figured it out. He went to facilities. He went through everything. And he went undercover when he first got
Hmm.
there. He did the real undercover boss thing to figure out what was wrong, and he fixed it. We have to get better at doing that. And when I tell you admissions is up for us, last year we had so many students, they was like, oh, we got a housing problem. Like, we went to a different
Wow.
level. Morgan State enrollment, since he's been there, has increased by 2 or 3,000 students. Like, he is doing the
Wow.
daggone thing. But we have to have leaders who are willing to take those bold steps. We can't just promote our friends. And Morgan is one of those schools where everybody's related to each other. He broke that system up
Hmm.
too. Like, nah, your
Right,
mama's fired, you're
right,
fired too.
right, right.
Right, because we don't check each other. We're looking out for each other. Yeah, we're looking out for each
Right.
other, but then we don't check each other. And there has to be a system of check and balances. And
That's
sometimes it
right.
is a matter of getting friends out there, getting old sister whatchamacallit been there for 30 years, but she ain't doing
Yeah.
a darn thing. But in order for us not to lose our schools, we got to figure out them old systems. We got to get rid of them.
And that goes to another point that Shelby Miller is saying. It's about us giving back. And that's another point, because I think we've hit on a lot of points today. But definitely that's a point that we definitely got to make sure we put out there. You got to give back, okay? You
Got
have
to.
got to be a
Hmm.
part of your alumni association. Now, the cool thing about the fact that, we're struggling is that your national, probably even your local due is not going to be that much. So like, I know all y'all got at least $100 per year y'all can put back into your school. Cause I think it's
Right.
$85 total for us here at Jackson State. And then the band, and I've talked about this 400 million times. The Boom has also established an alumni association, so we got dues there, and ours is $50 there. So at least like once a year, you get your tax money back. You have got to start planning, and it's like, okay, this
Yeah.
percentage of my finances has
Yeah.
got to go in this direction, because
Yeah.
it seemed like it's a small thing that we could correct. Because I know a lot of us out here doing good things for HBCUs. Um, we also attend a lot of homecomings. I see
Hmm.
them memes, and they'll be like, oh, if our schools are so back or whack, stop coming to our homecoming. You know what I'm saying? So that's money they also spend, and it's money we spend, and it probably could go back to the school.
Right back. Yep.
So I had wanted to say that, yeah, we definitely got to support. And then the other person, I don't know what MRSG Andrews. So Mr. Andrews, I don't know, Major Andrews. I kind of want to know, you said, if you still listen, you said your kid goes to TSU, And to be honest, this is his third year, and the band has taken care of most of his needs. They're not in any of those conferences. What did you mean by that? I don't I don't understand. Um,
I think she's talking about the full scholarship thing. I think that was a reply when I was talking about the full scholarships. Like Cookman has full scholarships. I guess she was just kind of giving her perspective. That's
oh,
what it looked like. But you can correct us if we're wrong, Mrs. Andrews. I guess I don't know, Mrs. G Andrews or something.
yeah, cause I didn't know if she or he was getting to the fact that okay, but maybe it's a benefit that Tennessee State is in that different conference as far as the
Okay.
school taking care of their needs. That's kind of what I was wondering. And there could be again, we've talked about the finances where these schools are they're gonna have more
No,
money, but
yeah, yeah. The conference you're in really doesn't have an effect on per se your band scholarship. You know,
or your child's needs in that band.
right?
Okay.
Because band, yeah, departments award bands, a budget. And if you can politic as well as someone as Donovan Wells, then you get a great budget. If you don't have that much, weight as Wells, as one of these legends in the field does, you get a sucky budget. So it don't matter where your school is,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, no matter what the caliber of school you have, So some of the best, the Ivy League schools have sucky band programs, because of that same reason.
Right. Right.
So it's about the budget, how much your band is budget, and to piggyback on what Bridget was saying, yeah, the budget amount for a school as small as BCU is kind of unbalanced when you look at it compared to the amount of students that are on the yard, and you look at it to amount of scholarship money at his disposal. It probably is unbalanced, and that's probably one of the issues that they're facing with their budget or whatever financial issues they have going on.
Yeah. If you think about it, Ernest, so you have let's say 2,000 students. Let's say you got 200-300 band kids on scholarship, but then you got your athletes too. So you got your
Right.
athletes, whatever. So more than half of your
That's right.
school is on
Yeah, it's on
scholarships. You can't
scholarship. So
function.
you
You
don't have
can't function that
income.
way.
Yeah. And you
Yep.
have to maintain those scholarships. So when those
Yep.
freshmen become sophomores, they got to still get that money, until they
Yeah.
until they graduate, and then you paying the new freshman class, and then you filling them buses up, and you paying them hotel bills, and you doing all of that, So yeah, and 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 if you know anything about BCU and you know anything about Mr. Wells, then you know that he gets whatever he asks for. So if you go and look at the campus, you'd be like, man, this is a small campus. You go look at the band room or the music facility, you're like, wow, they have
Yeah.
great facilities. So BCU has chosen to invest in their band program, and to use it as a banner, which I don't knock, because I think that's paid off for them in the long run. I think what really caught up with them is that they had some mismanagement of funds on top of those large expenses that kind of
Wow.
put them in the situation they're in. Because I think this began with their last president. I think didn't somebody get fired because of some money mismanagement or something to that effect. I know that it was some
I know
deal
Howard.
out
I
of
know Howard did. Howard had a big issue with that. I remember
BCU
that.
had an issue with a dorm room.
Oh, okay.
Somebody paid made a deal about a dorm room that cost millions of dollars more than what it should have cost, and that president I think was let go, but now the school is stuck to pay the bill, and that's what put them in this financial situation they're in. But
That's crazy.
yep. So so and unfortunately, man, that's a cycle too. That's something that shows its head more often than not, is that we do it to ourselves. There's always some reason why a school is in that financial situation, and usually dealing with something illegal. Somebody done moved some money or took some money somewhere. Somebody done made a side kick deal. They get kickbacks off of this deal.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's what
Sorry.
happened. That's what happened to South Carolina State. We had some people convicted a few years ago of kickbacks. You know, they were getting these expensive contracts handed out to these corporations, costing the school more money, but yet they were getting kickbacks. You know, the board members getting Porsches, things like that.
Well, hey, y'all,
Uh,
y'all know we. I mean, I don't mean to say this. I'm not saying anything bad, but I
mhm.
mean, we talked about Hamer. We talked about Hamer.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, that whole
yeah.
fiasco is
It's the
that hurts.
same situation.
And that's
You
what
know.
hurts the most. Or like when
Yeah.
you know when you look back and see like maybe who has like some famous people who have died like in the black community, and then like maybe somebody black killed them, or allegedly we understand from the news that someone else black killed them. You know what I'm saying? You bring up a point definitely about we do it to ourselves. The Andrews, I'm just gonna say Andrews. They responded because I asked, and they said that if the administration has more money, if the athletic programs bring in more money. So I asked them, you know, do you think the A&T is, you know, doing the right thing? And they said that they think that money is what we need, and the athletes at North Carolina A&T are strong enough to generate more revenue. And then Scarfinger said that, you know, he thinks that they're doing what's right for them. I have no idea. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I don't like it, but just like one thing you hit me with, Ernest, is that it cycles. So we're like a couple
Mhm.
years ago, Fam was off the hook. It feel like it's
Yep.
like some
Yep.
new money stuff. Like I don't know if you guys don't
Yep.
understand. A&T, it's like the last 2 or 3 years, like it's like y'all had like a bomb blew up somewhere and y'all are like
Hmm.
everywhere. It was
That's
not
what it
like that
is.
4 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
It's a cycle. It's like, and I don't want to put, you know, bad wishes upon them, and I hope this doesn't happen. But I would not be surprised if another 2 to 3 years from now they're right back in the MEAC. You know, because that has been the
It's stuff
cycle
like
too.
that often happens. But you're right. That often
Yeah.
happens. We get too big for our britches, and then we go get
Yeah.
our tail bust, and you come running back
Yeah.
home.
That's exactly what happens.
So
So.
yeah.
So look, Ernest says it in a diplomatic way. I'm saying it in the real way. Son, that you gonna get that tail, you get that tail tagged, and then you want to come
That's
running
it.
back. Oh no, this was financially whatever, because stuff happens. Things do work in cycles. Like, and I'm glad they're
Yeah.
not with cycle, but that's what always happened. We great black folks, good. Welcome home. Come on back home, honey. It's
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Be like, nope. Carry your tail to the CIAA. I'm only playing.
But
So yeah, I mean,
yeah, so yeah, my bad,
Most of these schools
Scarfinger.
started out in the CIAA anyway. You
Yeah,
know.
you know, and it's funny because I looked up and right quick, my bad, Scarfinger. Yeah, he said what they think is right for them. Yeah, he wanted to make sure I put that in there. But one thing I had when I was looking up A&T, I was like, what's up with this football program? Like, it seemed like it's new to me. They've had consistently a good program over the years, but I looked and it said it was on Wikipedia that the the idea of creating the MEAC was that we had more black schools competing in the level and in the same conference that A&T and Hampton have left for now. Do you know what I mean? It supposedly the MEAC was supposed to help build and get those black colleges to compete at that D2 level, or it was supposed to, you know, be better than the
Right.
CIAA, but at least they were
Right. Right.
taking more than just one school. So I'm interested to see, like, okay, I want to dig more into the history of the MEAC to figure like, okay, how come teams are leaving? I thought the MEAC,
Right.
you know, because so
Right.
that I definitely need to read up more about the MEAC. That definitely sparked my interest, but part of it, again, I saw it on Wikipedia that part of establishing it was that, you know, these black colleges would be able to compete on a higher level and maybe, you know, be an FBS school or something. I think someone
but yet
said
I
that.
think when they came out of CIAA though, I think that was the essence of it coming out of CIAA. So
Right.
in
Hmm.
all of it, because all of us was in CIAA, and
Yeah.
you know these schools were a little more prominent, and so they wanted to move up to, because we're D1 AA. Most of
Right.
the CIAA schools
It's
are D2,
super
correct?
super small schools.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Smith
They're
is like
D2, so
really small. Exactly.
yeah, so we
Right.
moved up to 1 AA, so that was the whole
Hmm.
essence. But at that time, you got to realize all those schools who were really, really prominent in the conference. Morgan State, Lord, that was the only time we probably was prominent in football. But we were prominent in football, you know, getting people to the league, and so that's kind of how MEAC thing kind of came along. But now move somewhere else. I guess I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not
Yep.
feeling the A&T. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, and I think we all on the same page. And to the people that don't necessarily agree, I definitely understand what you're saying as far as money and economics. I get that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I
I
would
get it.
like to have the money and economics already here. Or like, can we build money and economics here first? Because I just feel like you venturing out. If it's not gonna be at home, we gonna continue to have this conversation. Bridget was like, "Hey, you remember with blah blah blah?" I actually had to sit and think about it, Bridget. You know, we actually having that conversation now about black college bands on BET because we all
Mm.
the same age, and we actually have all said, "Man, you remember when BET
Right.
used to have a halftime show? We used to see them halftime show."
Absolutely.
Well,
Right.
that's where we are now. So that's kind of scary.
Yeah, and that's the conversation. I'm trying to tell you, we're gonna keep having those conversations. Do we
Yep.
figure out how to build what we have? When I tell you, this is one of the things that grind my gears when others come in and figure stuff out for us as a community.
Yeah.
It grinds my
Yeah.
gear. And this is
Yeah.
another case that we're either running to them or somebody's finding like that Honda thing drives me nuts. We've been doing battle the bands and all this stuff all this time. Why couldn't we figure this thing out ourselves
Right.
and make
Right.
and economically build ourselves? Something as great as Honda could be what we need as a major source for the
Yeah.
MEAC or the SWAC or whatever. And then the whole other thing, the MEAC SWAC championship, that final HBCU championship game came out of this whole very discussion. If you go back and look at the news articles from like I guess about 4 years ago when they decided we're not going to go with the larger because our bids are so low and we always put out the first round. They decided let's economically support each other and let's do this thing in Atlanta.
Right.
Let's do the Celebration Bowl.
Right.
And so that's why we did that. We came together trying to figure out how to make it work. Yes, great, support it. So now we got to get behind it and support it. And now Auntie's like, oh, that's not good enough. So we out of here.
Yeah.
That's right. And you had a seat at the table. They had a major seat at the
Right.
table at the time.
Yeah.
So like that's to me it's messed up.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we hit on a lot of points there. But yeah, I definitely
Starfinger
think.
hooch.
Yeah, I definitely think. Wow. So I'm with you, Bridge. I think Ernest the same. I just wish A&T y'all was doing something. I don't know. I just honestly don't know. I guess we'll see how
Because
it turns out.
unfortunately, if this time is different, say this time is different, and Hampton and A&T actually stays more than 2 years in this conference, then it's going to become the norm. That means that another MEAC school is going to leave. It's probably going to be South Carolina State once we get back on our feet, because you know we're the next team that's always up, you know, in the top when it comes to football rankings. You know,
And FAMU.
and FAMU. Now, I'm actually surprised that the FAMU logistically has not moved to the SWAC, because logistically it would make more sense, travel wise, for them to play those schools as opposed to North Carolina A&T, Morgan State, Howard, you know, all those schools like that. They're closer to Alabama State, Jackson State,
That's
you
true.
know. So I wouldn't be surprised now if the MEAC fall to pieces. That's probably where FAMU is going to end up. Which, you know, band wise, they will stick out like a sore thumb, but athletics wise, they'll fit right in.
Yeah, we just need to combine all the schools. We like, hey, if you got a HBCU listing as far as your school, we just need to put everything in one major conference or have two parts. I don't know, something, because it seems like as soon
Hmm.
as we venture out on our own so much, something fall off or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would
Yep.
like to see something like that happen, but yeah, I don't. A&T, man, like I feel like you guys are enjoying yourselves right now, and that's good. But this is definitely some like new money type stuff. Like this is like you getting way too crunk. You getting way too amped too early, and now you about to go out there and you about to get married. You know what I'm saying? You done took the girl to dinner. You already about to get married. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I wish you luck because we always have your back. And if you have
Mm-hmm.
to come back, that's cool. But I hate that a lot of these matchups we might be losing. Like, if Hampton doesn't play A&T that much, or if A&T now and they're not gonna play FAM that much, I'm gonna miss the football and the halftime and the fifth
Yeah.
quarters.
Well, if they're smart, they would still take advantage of those classic games because they still have the room in their schedule to schedule a A&T Aggie Eagle Classic,
Right.
with Central. That's a big moneymaker. They would be stupid to drop that moneymaker just because they're in a new conference.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Has Tennessee State traditionally played anybody, Joe, in the SWAC that in a big conference game?
The
Yeah, they
Southern
do. They
Heritage
do.
Classic is against us in Memphis every year, and that's
Okay.
been every year since I've been alive. We
Well,
always
there it
play
is.
them there.
That's a
They had
perfect
well, they
example.
had they had one with FAMU. They used to play all the time. I don't think
Yeah,
they've
they
played
The
in the
did.
last
Atlanta
couple of
Classic.
years. But
The Atlanta
yeah,
Classic.
Yeah.
they used to
Yeah.
always do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they used
Yeah.
to do that as well.
Uh,
I'm looking at the chat room. Major Payne says, "Man, imagine a time where there's no MEAC or SWAC sound. Crazy. It might.
Man.
That could happen. That could happen. Major Payne." And then
mm-hmm.
Scarfinger Hoodrich, yeah, said we had Battle Fest and it was dope. That idea just died. Well, didn't quite just die, but there were some financial disparities that kind of happened. There are bands that are still waiting to get paid from that last Battle Fest.
What?
That's all. That's what we're gonna say. Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was. Yeah, there was some financial issues that happened. Battle Fest was good. Battle Fest was really good, but
Yeah.
there's definitely still some bands waiting to get paid that never got paid from it.
Ouch.
Ask me how I know.
Wow.
ask me how. Yes, yeah. Economics didn't work out. It was people wasn't handling money correctly. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, dang man, I could talk to y'all forever. Last week I didn't know if y'all know this. Last week our show was 3 hours. I didn't know if y'all knew
Wow.
that. I
Yeah,
came
I did
I
out.
saw
not.
that.
I came out of the room, and my family was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Like where? Like whoa,
Are
like
you okay?
yeah." My my wife was like, "Man, I done went to." She's like, "I went to sleep," and she's like, "I got some stuff
Wow.
done." Like she was all excited. You know what I'm saying? But the kids, they halfway trip because they got their tablets, and I make them turn off the
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, but I don't have them on the internet like with the TV or anything. So yeah, they be zoning out while I'm in here. But man, I can't help it though. I'm be in here actually talking to y'all, and then I'll look at the little timer and I'll be like, dang. I even used to try to go through and edit the conversation and put the timestamps in the description. So
Hmm.
so like when people say, "Oh, I want to hear about FAM and the MEAC," they could just
Right.
click on that. But brother, that got too hard, bro. I said, man, we be talking 2 hours. Like I can't I can't keep up like that. So I'll get it together. All right. So anything else that you guys want to say? Anything else from the chat room? Anything before we wrap up the show?
I want to give out some positives
All right, that'll work.
uh, for South Carolina State University. I know my school has taken a hit, as far as a lot of negative publicity as of late, but there have been some positive things as of late that's happened as well. So um, it was brought to my attention by some alumni recently that we're the only Division I AA school that has a player in the Pro Bowl. We had a player in the Super Bowl this year. We had player Donnie Shell to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame this year, and we had a player in the Senior Bowl this year, and we had former music education student who was awarded a Grammy last week.
Oh
Charles,
wow.
Charles,
Yay!
Charlton Singleton.
Yay!
So yeah, so it's some positives going
That's what
on
I'm
in South
saying.
Carolina.
You watch
You know
yourself
what
talking
I'm
about South Carolina State.
saying?
Round of applause. Way to go,
That's
Ernest.
right. So the Bulldogs are still holding it down. We ain't dead yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Tell him, Ernest.
I like
Not
I
yet.
know I like how subtle Ernest is. He's like, man, just let me add a little something here. Proceed. You know what I'm saying? There you go. So yeah, South Carolina State. Because we all know that y'all are dope HBCU when you got a rapper like Bootsy who plays at your school. Round of applause.
Not
Bootsy New
Bootsy.
players at Carolina, South Carolina State.
Oh my God.
Why he keep trying to get them Bootsy? Why you keep trying to
Oh
get them
my
Bootsy?
God.
Hey
For
man,
real, man.
hey man, y'all know that song dope. That's like one of the greatest
Yeah.
songs on Wipe It Down. Round of applause, Wipe It Down. Y'all know y'all be cool with Wipe It Down.
Yeah, that is low key the new anthem
It
though. So
was.
I
It
can't hate on
definitely
Bootsy.
is. It definitely is. It definitely is.
I love it, y'all. All right, so
Can't hate on Bootsy.
I'll ask you guys anything. Hold on, let me put my little closing music on. But anything to wrap up the year. So Ernest, we chopped it up with Ernest, didn't we? Didn't we do a chop it
Yeah,
up? Yeah,
yeah,
we did. So
yeah.
we got to
Mhm.
do Bridget, people in the chat room. Let me give a round of applause to people in the chat room because y'all the real MVP of this season.
Yeah.
But I've seen some people in there say that you got podcasts and you guys got stuff going on. Please email the show or hit me up on Facebook or do whatever so I can interview you. I would like to definitely do a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
interviews this year over the summer months because I would like to highlight the people in the chat room as well. I would like to tell the world your story and get you guys out there because I'm hoping that what we're doing is part of the answer that we talked about today, at least trying to build excitement for our schools.
Hey Joe, you got two people in the chat room. You should connect with Dr. Kevin Davenport, Mr. D. Hey, I don't know if you know Mr. D. Great guy. He's a band director. Can't remember the school you're at now, Mr. D, but he was
He's at Simmons,
at
right?
Tennessee. I think Simmons. I think that sounds right. But he was at Tennessee State. He was my assistant band director at Morgan State for a while. So Mr. D, it's good to see you. That's a good person to chop it up with. He got I know he has a book out. So he's a good guy to chop it up with.
All right, so let me add on to that. Brother Davenport. Go ahead, Bridget.
And Truly Bennett is in there. She's the wife of Billy Bennett, who's the band director at Bowie State. She has a new dance podcast. She's a dancer extraordinaire. She has a new dance podcast. She's another person I would say definitely chop it up with. Thank both of y'all for popping in on the podcast for us tonight.
Okay.
Simmons College. Hey, Mr. D.
Yeah,
Simmons College. We got you.
Dr. Davenport, I did the first director series on the show with him. And his book is Practical Techniques for Improving Your Marching Band. So we promoted the book, and it's in five parts. So you can go on YouTube and look under Director Series, and that series is there for you. And it's also tweeted out on Twitter here and there. But yeah, I definitely know Dr. Davenport, know him really well, and we did a really good job with that. But yeah, and then you say Truly Bennett, I saw her on Facebook, so we definitely want to holler at her. I don't know what happened to Ernest. I still see his thing up there. I just don't see his picture.
Yeah, he's on pause.
Oh, okay. Scarfing, you say you do 2 podcasts.
What's your podcast?
It don't matter. That's what I'm saying. You do a podcast. I want to interview you because I do interviews and ain't got nothing to do with band. I'm just trying to, holler at folks because it's the craft, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever y'all do, hit me up so I can promote it, and we'll put it out there. So did you do your shout outs, Bridget? Your closing shout outs?
I did one more shout out to you for this one. Well, 2 more. Shout out to you for this great season again. Thank you so much for pulling it all together, brother Baird, Joe Baird. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate that.
And shout out to my homies, my brothers around the corner from me, my neighbors, the Rogers brothers. I think they're coming up tonight. Javante was sick this week with the flu. Hope he's feeling better. Meanwhile, his brother Brandon, I had to put him out my house on Monday because he was over here cutting up. That's my homie, though. That's my homie. They look out for me. But appreciate that. Check them out. Check out the Rogers Brothers show. Always entertaining, always fun. So check out the Rogers Brothers. Yeah.
All right. So it say Ernest left. I don't know. I thought he ain't had to have his time. Maybe let me see if I can get him back on here.
He done lost his feed or something.
Yeah, I definitely want to give him his shout outs for the last little show.
Yeah, man.
So definitely I want to give a shout out to Bridget while we waiting. Shout out to you and get a round of applause in there. Shout out to Bridget. Say he joined. Calling Ernest. Okay, it's calling him. So shout out to you, shout out to Ernest, shout out to all the people in the chat room. It's been really fun looking at all what things that people say. And shout out to Restream. That's the new service that we've been using to stream the video live. So that's really
His phone died.
Oh,
He
his
said his
phone died.
phone.
All right, so
He
round of
said his
applause for
phone
Ernest.
died. Sorry, guys.
Round of applause for Ernest
He's
so
plugged up now.
we'll get him on to his last little shots. But again, thanks to you for listening and watching, and again the people on people in the chat. We'll continue to communicate with y'all. Again, the off season is chopping it up, and then there go Ernest. Ernest, what up? Ernest, a
Hey!
round of applause. Ernest came back. So you gotta tell your shout outs, man. Your exit shout outs for the year.
Oh man, yeah. I want to shout out the Niners, man. We didn't get it done this year, but we will get it done next year. We can't keep greatness down, baby. Yeah, shout out to the Niners. Shout out to the South Carolina State Wind Ensemble who performed at the SCMEA conference on Friday morning and did a great job. I was very proud of the alma mater. And shout out to all the band directors I rubbed elbows with this weekend. Shout out to the Hawaiian group at conference. They hold it down with all the licking chicken every year.
Round of applause. But that's expensive. Oh no, did we lose Ernest? Oh, I think we
He's
lost
frozen again.
I know.
He's frozen.
I know. Dang.
Everybody in the
Oh, there you go.
All right, hold on. So we missed you. The last thing I heard was beer and chicken, or liquor and chicken. That's the last thing I heard.
I just said shout out to everybody in the chat rooms.
Okay. That's what's up. Scarfinger said no Niners win without a new QB. Ooh, so they getting on Jimmy G. They got on Jimmy G pretty hard, Ernest. And dang, we lost him again. Dang, because I know he would have had a response to that. So yeah, we'll see. If Ernest comes back. Oh, there you go. Oh, you laughing? There you go.
Yeah, I said Jimmy, we gotta go.
You don't like Jimmy G, man?
Nah, man, he ain't ready. I
He
think he's all right, but we need to do better. We need a quarterback. Oh,
They need Lamar Jackson. That's what he was about to say before he was frozen. Shout out to the MVP. Lamar Jackson. Let's go Ravens. Be frozen. I hope he catch all this while he frozen. You frozen. You need Lamar Jackson, baby. You need the MVP.
Oh, that's what's up. So I guess for me, yeah, you guys, everything has been great. It's been fun. And we'll keep the craft going. And then we'll see you guys in the fall. But yeah, definitely keep it. Your band director, Mr. Melvin Miles. I need to talk to him.
Absolutely.
Just everybody, just flood it, and I'll call y'all on Skype, and I'll put your business, your podcast. We'll put it out there so we can support everything that you're doing. All right. So yeah, if you got a business and you want to support the show, hit us up and we'll play your commercial. We'll play it all out down there at the bottom. You'll see all of this same stuff when we chop it up on all our other shows. So go ahead and get in there, and we'll go ahead and tell the world about how good your business is. All right. So if there's nothing else, thanks again. We give a last round of applause for the 2019-20 90 Degree Show. Again, thanks you guys for listening. How are we wrapping up? Oh yeah. So go to the website and buy some nail gear. You guys get a cup, get a t-shirt or something. All right. And shout out to the Rogers brothers. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Show Style. Shout out to all the other people that's doing podcasts about bands and stuff. We love you. We support you. And we also like listening and laughing at y'all. Shout out to Jerome Law. Jerome Law has been on the Show Style talk with the Show Style guys. But he wasn't on when we did I can't remember if he was on there or not, or maybe he was on the camera. But he's the new guy. Got him on Facebook this past week. So shout out to him. He's another juke. And I was like, oh, man, the brother went to Southern. So I said, oh, okay. It's still all good. And then Ernest back to close. There we go. So we own it. All right. So, again, thank you again. We love you. Appreciate it. And keep following us and keep spreading the word. And remember, the lessons you deliver may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lesson in observing what you do. See you next time. Oh, where Where's the closing thing? Oh, there it is. Hold on.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment. And that's it for the 90 Degree Show for this week. Tune in next week with Joe Beard, where the marching band battles continue.